Yeah.
All right, it appears it's recording. Let's hope. Let's hope.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's Jenna, the Scream Queen here at Damnation Vault, and I'm here with Julien. I'm gonna say your name right. Deyres?
Ju yeah. Julien, that's fine. First name would fit.
Okay. Of Gorod.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How are you tonight? It looks kind of cold out there.
Yeah, pretty cool here. It's 8 p.m. now in France, and yeah, it's the winter that is just right back. So I mean, winter compared to people from the north, very north of the United States or for Canada, this is nothing. But it's been snowing here a couple of hours ago. Like, okay, snow is already disappeared, but yeah, so it's cold. But yeah, that's
Well,
fine because I have to stay outside. So yeah, that's cool.
yeah, thank you so much for doing this interview, especially standing outside.
That's life. That's all good.
Yeah, well, you have a new album coming out in about 5 days on March 7th called The Orb. So, first of all, I'm going to start with your song Breeding Silence because that's a pretty cool song. Like, lyrically, there's a lyric that, like, in the chorus that stuck out to me, like, listen to the forest that grows rather than the trees that fall. Like, what inspired you to write that? Were you in a forest as you came up with that, or like what was that journey like creating that song?
No, it's a bit more not more complicated, I would say, but yeah, usually when I'm writing lyrics for the previous album, I'm working like because I come from the university, I'm an art historian. I've graduated a master thesis about art history, and I like to work just like if I was writing a thesis. So following the topics, that's the stuff with different parts, introduction, conclusion, explanation, hidden parts, hidden things, explain some quotes also. There's a lot of quotes, and like also to show it time to time. Sometimes it can be hidden with sort of senses. Sometimes I'm not using the words, but this time for this album, everything has to be more trivial, much more direct than usually. So what I wanted is that even if you are not educated in that specific topic, we don't have to be. You can understand what this topic is about, and then there are some kind of hidden senses which are hidden behind the first sense. Usually for when I'm writing, it's you have to read about it to really understand what I'm talking about. What is because for me back in the time was the music was the most important after all, not really the lyrics or not the meanings, yeah, but the meanings has to be hard to find out. And now as we have been experiences some kind of weird times with the COVID and all that stuff and the world we're living in time to time, I feel so upset at what is happening around and how not people are stupid, but yet like the free will on the critical thinking skills are getting so low, and we have some easy access to culture and everything, and how some people think themselves educated can be bad or in the way that's is some so pretty important to remind and to get back to some basic roots, some simple things just as human beings. And so this is why this time I was working more as following philosophers. And so these were much more my part of inspiration because usually I'm working with spirituality, interpretation of spiritualities everywhere in the world, iconography because I'm a specialist of iconography, art history. So everything what is about riddles that are hidden senses and all that. And with philosophy, I mean, even if the notions are pretty complicated, you have to understand it because it's about a dialogue. It's about transmitting information, and it's about exchange. And I wanted to really to get back on it. And so there are a lot of philosopher quotes and all of these kind of things. And listen to the forest that grows rather than the tree that falls. This is a quote from Hegel, the German philosopher. But also there are different versions of the sentence that are used in Africa or also in Asian countries. So say in different ways. But this is, let's say, a universal. philosophy in the end that comes more from our instinct or our nature than our culture, or this is a mixing of both, because in the end, time to time, when you travel the world, you can find brothers on the other side of the globe, and you can find stranger just the next door. So that's what is really interesting. And so this sentence, I know that some people told me, "Ah, this is a very famous freaking proverb or like a motto that I knew it, but it's not written this way." Oh no, in this way it's written is the literal translation of Hegel, of Georg Joseph Friedrich Hegel. Yeah, he has a long name, and I like this one because. Um, this fits pretty much with the overall topic because this song was written in a specific context. I started to write the lyrics right at the beginning of the war between Russia and Ukraine. And I'm from Europe, and I have many friends also over there. And we had a discussion at the beginning of the conflict with a good friend of mine, who is also a great listener of our music. And we chatting. I've been taking some news, and we were blah blah together, and there are some sentences that come from that discussion in this on this song. So it's meaningful. This talks about something we've been experiencing more or less together, about some discussion we have about some point of views and way to see things. And this is why I was saying, yeah, we have problems with borders, with territories, with all of that. And this is crazy how you can hate some kind of ethnical people time to time, because and I've been really a lot in Slavic countries, in Czech Republic, Slovakia, Ukraine, and I know a lot of friends of mine and some people I just know who are pretty intolerant with Tsigan, with gypsies and stuff. And they say that when it's times of war, when we have a common enemies, then we become friends again. Say, okay, that's funny. That's what I was finding interesting. And this song is also talking about it, that listen to the overall things, not about the little problem that you see directly here. This is a bit more general, so think a bit more global than to act a bit more local in a way. So this is a will to question everyone, but the way they want it, because I gave you many explanations, but I wanted to leave the interpretation open. Like, yeah, my purpose, this is why these lyrics are really short. There are just a couple of quotes, sentences, and that's it, because I didn't want to influence too much the reading of it. But for me, there is some of meanings that are really deep and that are really meaningful according to my experience. But I also wanted, I really did some effort just to, like, if it's taken out of context, then it can be understood and anyone can see its own way. So that was also my will. So it took a bit of time to write it, even if it's really short.
Well, that is such a really a deep meaning. I mean,
Yeah.
I heard the song. I had no idea that that was even a
Mm,
philosopher quote, and
mm,
it really stuck with me. I'm like, wow, this is really deep. This it's
yeah.
really cool because it does give you a different perspective on things, like because
Yeah.
especially like if you do actually go out into a forest or on a trail or something. Yeah, listening to that rather than focusing on what falls, that
Mm,
is definitely more the important thing. Of
yeah.
course, the tree
So in
is
the
falling like behind you or near you. Yeah, you better get up and run.
that's it. Just a suggestion of an opinion. So why not seeing things that way? If you time to time you don't see it that way. So
Right, right. And you also just released a new video for "We Are the Sun Gods," which is the second track on the album. And that
yep.
video is that's a like the imagery in it is very deep alone because I mean it deals with the seven deadly sins and
Mm.
everything. And so what was it? First of all, what was the inspiration behind that song? Especially like, well, I don't have the lyrics until of course the
Mm.
album comes out. So as I'm listening, I'm like making up the lyrics in my own head. What could we? So what what is the story of that song?
This is let's say there are many stories because yeah, the overall concept is all about the sun. Because yeah, the previous album was all about the moon, so it has to be more dreamlike, and it was focused on the spiritual point of views of the interpretation of that star, of the moon, of this star. We can take time to contemplate and to create some myth anywhere where we are in the world, and this is a universal symbol. And so the and as the moon is a universal symbol, the sun is also a very important one because this is a source of life. But time to time, it can be dangerous as well. So this is really funny when you study some different tribes, some kind of different ethnies. For them, some of them would say that the sun is the guide because it make all the culture grow, and the moon, yeah, this is the moment of the night, of the ghosts, of something we don't see. And for some other people, when the sun is heating too much, the sun is an enemy because it's burning all the harvest, it's drying everything up, and the moon is the moment where the night is refreshing. It looks like a guide. So we have to follow the moon to go somewhere. And so this is a question of interpretation, and now it's all about the sun, and the sun with its solar experience. When I mean a solar, it can be just a personality. When I mean a solar personal, this is someone arrogant who think he is the center of the world, who's better than anything else, because everyone just look at him, because thanks to him, every all the light comes through, every all things come through and can be clearly explained, because during the night your senses are a bit blurred, and when your senses are blurred, imaginations runs more. But when it's during the day, when the sun is lighting up everything, your senses are less blurred, so everything is a bit more, yeah, trivial, so in the way, or realistic, people can call it that way, because you can see with your eyes, and your eyes are a reflection of the greatest reality that comes to us. But when I say this, when you it comes about the sun, in every kind of tribes of spiritualities, or everything, the sun is one, always one of the major thing. This is always at the very top of the pantheon of any gods. So for the Greeks, it's Helios and others. But and when you feel like the sun, you feel like you are ruling the world in the end of everything, that everyone is under your domination and you are controlling all that stuff. And I was like when in the Christian spirituality, they say that God created, not really created the sun, but it created the light. That's a bit different. And so I was just making fun of it because I love a lot of Shakespeare and this kind of experience, like the absurd way of seeing things, the word upside down. So why not inverting everything? Like, we have been spending our entire existence as human beings as making the sun our God, but maybe the sun, he made us, and he's super fan of what we are. We are his idols, and he's like, wow, look at them, they're amazing, they are my creation. But he's like, he's fascinating and devoted on us. So I was playing this stupid game, and sometimes the inversion can help to understand things a bit more clearly. It means also, just like when someone is living a terrible experience, then you don't really know because you never experienced it. But when you think afterwards and say, okay, if it would have been me, then you're just inverting the thing. So changing the place, changing the room, and sometimes even asking yourself something that sounds like stupid, exactly like this. For me, this is a game, and this is what it's shown on the movie clip, because this is what I was explaining. Like, imagine the sun we see us, like he made us in our image. So we are the reflection of a god, of the sun, or everything. So who is the who is the master in the end? Who is the who is the worm? Who is the laboratory rat? Who is that? So just forcing everyone to ask this question that can be stupid, but just the way of seeing that thing in a very specific context, maybe it can change the overall sense. So this is this interpretation of that song in the clip is pretty with a cringy, or no, let's say an acid sense of humor. So there is always a second degree, which is a bit kidding, like a bit provocative. Because yeah, I really love provocation, and this, sure, even if it's a bit learned, so this learned way of writing things, I'm also making fun of the reader and trying to see how far do you go? If I'm just mocking you or having fun with you, and you following because I know I said a stupid thing, so you don't have to get into it. So just yeah, provocation in order to push to creative and critical minds. That's all what matters here.
Okay. Yeah, how does the video concept really embrace everything that you just told me? Like, how do you feel like it really captured all of that?
So in the end, I'm just writing all of this kind of stuff because I just like to do it. And in the end, with this band, we're playing the music we just enjoy. We have fun to play, and there is no, we have no obligation yet to obey or to follow any standards or some trademarks because our trademarks already exist in our genre. So the music is like this, and so to me, the lyrics has to follow the music, but there is the music of Mathieu because all the composition of Gorod comes from all the compositions come from the same mind. So this is Mathieu, our main guitar player, who is making the overall music since the beginning, and he's a very open-minded musician. He listens to funk music, to jazz stuff, and so to everything but metal. Also, to a lot of very various, to world music, to classic music, and everything. And he puts a lot of influences, a lot of everything he enjoys. Even sometimes there are funny references, and there are a lot of it. So there's some kind of hidden jokes in his music, and so I think this is also what I'm trying to catch, so to make a coherence between the topic of the lyrics and also the way he's making music. So it's always a communication between that. So when it's brutal, it has to be brutal. There is an aggressive and straightforward meaning. When it's sometimes the part is a bit groovy, and in the middle there is a drum solo. We've fucking put a drum solo in a song. I never thought we would do that in our life. But for us, it's more a challenge. It's more something like fun. Okay, let's do something we never did before. And so I'm actually being inspired of the music to create all that topic. And if it's the overall thing fits together, that's good. And if people can understand the different levels of understanding, it's even better. But if you just enjoy it just like it comes, I'm also fine with it. It doesn't have to be all the time over intellectualized. But in case if you like intellectualized stuff, then you have a lot of stuff to sort out.
Okay. Yeah. I notice like how many different influences there are, especially that you can really hear in this album. I mean, there's a lot of, melodic tendencies. There's even like some black metal undertones with some of the riffs. It's really cool. And of course, there's hardcore, there's like groove, of course, death metal. I mean, that's like the
Yeah,
most apparent. It's so cool. Like between this album and am I pronouncing am I going to pronounce this right? Aethra, your previous album?
it's a it's a Greek name, so you can pronounce it the way you want. Aethra. Yeah.
How do you feel like in between the time that you were in between the time of these two albums, like what were some of the things that you feel that you were really inspired by or learned that you feel that you really adapted to the org in between from
Mm,
there to now?
the thing is that there is no proper connection between the previous between Aethra and this one. And also the context is a big explanation because yeah, when we wanted to compose again, and also the promotion of Aethra was not completely fulfilled when it was the time of the lockdown. It means that for us, we still had a couple of tours to perform, and then it would have been done. But yeah, sure, the COVID put an end to that. And so, okay, Aethra was over. We wanted actually, like, we had a couple of good shows that was booked, but everything was canceled. But I won't be whining that much because we've been lucky as we've been touring in Canada and the United States in 2020. So from the beginning of February until yeah, I think that the last show were the 9th yeah, the 9th of March, something like that. So it's right before the lockdown. And I remember, yeah, I was home the 12th of March, and 2 days after there was broadcasting. Okay, the pubs are closing, and then everything is closing, and now it's shut down. So everything happened for the new album in this context. And at that moment, we there was no project, there was no future concerning live shows, live performances, because live shows are our main thing. We are not that much a studio band. We don't like really put out albums after albums just to make albums. The purpose is to go on tour, to be together as friends and have fun together and enjoy the time on the road and play together and enjoy this sensation, the feeling that you can share with the crowd, with the friends, because yes, so many people who are fans are not fans, they are friends now because we start to know each other for a while. And it will be our fifth times in the United States, if I'm not wrong. So I know that on the next tour, we're gonna meet people we already know for a while. It will be like just meeting friends again. So this is a really cool thing in that way. But this thing disappeared, and as there was no project, we were like, will we do an album? We don't know. So okay, let's try to make new music, but there was no proper motivation because of no tour, because of no many friends, because of no project. So first of all, we started to make just singles, song one by one, and just when everything was kind of back to normal, then that was the idea. Okay, we have to make a new album, and then we make that. So the context is very, very different. But yeah, first of all, this there was no project of making a proper new album. It was first singles, then gathered together, and then we made a sort of mixing, and then this is what it came out.
Okay. Uh, um, I just had a question and it just left me, of course. But
No problem.
okay, so I'll just go into this song that you did on the album. It's the last track. I
Yeah.
It is so awesome because it is Strange Days from The Doors, a cover song. It it is so cool. I mean,
Hmm.
when I was listening to it, I had no idea. I saw the name on the track list, I'm like Strange Days, huh? And then like it was in as it got on that track, I'm like, no fucking way. It is so cool
Yeah.
to hear the Doors being covered in a death metal like way. And I mean, you can tell it's a Doors song. So what and it's metal. It's awesome. I'm a huge Doors fan, so that was so cool for to hear.
Good.
What
We are too.
That is awesome. So what was it about Strange Days that made you all want to cover the song?
So as you got it, we are pretty into not only provocation, I would say, but we like to make combination that are not supposed to fit together. So to create some weird ingredients and make some recipe with it and see if it works. But the purpose is just to have fun, to enjoy it, because we play music just because we love playing music. Music is all about fun, about sharing. It can be sure intense intellectual or really learns or something like this, but time to time you just good to just to release the beast and just do whatever you want to do, even if it can sound like a transgression, following not any laws that are supposed to be followed. So don't touch, do that to God. You made a cover of the Doors. Are you crazy? No, don't. That's super tricky, and we knew it was really tricky. But the thing is that our drummer Carol is a super fan of the Doors, and as we are friends, I mentioned it before, we party a lot together, and almost every party Doors are playing. So it's on the spot on the Spotify set list. So and Carol wanted to make a cover and that was his choice. He was sure that this one we have to do, and also they also know that because first of all I'm not strictly exclusively a death metal singer or black metal singer. I like to sing any kind of music, and most of the time when I'm home I'm clean singing actually, but unfortunately my range is pretty low, so I'm really bass baritone, and there are not that many songs that can be sung that way. So pretty often what I'm doing when I'm a karaoke, the only song I can sing is from Crash Test Dummies, and that's it. And then they were saying, "Oh, but the Doors would fit perfectly to you." And like he was, when Carol heard this song, he said that this is you. So if you don't have to copy him or to fake anything, just sing as you're doing usually, and it will sound like the not like the original, but this is something natural. And I was like, okay, let's try it because actually I prefer People Are Strange. This is the song I'm singing mostly, not this one. People are strange, why you a stranger? That's I'm thinking that's more naturally. But I was like, okay, let's do it. And that was such a fun to make it. And in the end, that was one of the easiest songs to record of the entire album because the thing was not about singing, it was just about interpretation. We were just clearly re-listening to every part very specifically how it was recorded, and I was trying, okay, he made it that way, so following the notes in with that evolution, and so make it just, I mean, you didn't have to fake something. Like only the natural voice would make the difference, but not so much a big difference. So they actually made it for me, and that's very nice. So yeah, I had really a lot of fun doing it, and we were like, okay, it's gonna be the last song. Like it can be taken as a bonus track, but in the end, it's that's a part of the album, and that's also a good reflection of what we are because in the end in not the entire but almost the whole Gorod discography there are some little covers or some quotes or some parts or some tracks were taken from other artists, and time to time it happened to us that some people will come just to at the merch booth and say, is this part is not from Chick Corea? And I was like, yeah, you got it. Absolutely. I thought it was sounding the same. No, no, it doesn't sound like it is exactly the same part. We just make a copy paste and just play with different instruments, and that's it. So we always love to do this kind of things. And for us, it was like, okay, this gonna be probably a big surprise for everyone. So as we like to, we want to give some little present and to make some kind of surprise. So we hoped it worked this time.
Yeah, well, when I was listening to it, I was super surprised. I'm just like, no way, this is so freaking cool.
Mm.
How do you
Yeah,
feel that you were able to, I guess, channel the energy of Jim Morrison?
well, it doesn't change because actually when I'm also like a vocal coach or something like this. I'm giving a lot of lessons to friends, surroundings, and people are time to time asking me for in case if they're starting a tour, so they feel like stressed and they you know how to channel energy. And most of the time I'm pretty I don't care. And you have to feel completely relieved. You have to feel so peaceful inside if you want to be the craziest yeller. If you want to, yeah, to bring out the craziest growl, you really have to feel like you're just tasting a margarita cocktail. You are in the islands and chilling, and then you are able really to scream. So in the end, this is the same exactly the same way to act like singing, clean singing or screaming. I when inside I feel exactly the same. There's no difference. The only difference is the facade, but in your body, in your mind, everything is like unstressed. Everything is released, and this is the only way to manage to get to make like a proper interpretation or to change it. And then you can also start off acting a bit because everything is a bit is also about of acting. But if you feel tension in your muscles and everything, that's not good, even for clean singing or growling or yelling as much as you can. So you have to be in the same mood, like also in the same state of body control in that way. So so there was no. I can yeah record the song like Scale of Sorrows, which is the most brutal song of the album, and this one after another, but feeling the same inside. So yeah, this is just a technique. This is, but it's not a question of mood. The mood comes afterwards.
Okay,
Mm,
that was interesting because
mm.
it's good to know all these
Yeah,
different things, especially like with vocal training. That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned Scale of Sorrows, and that it's kind of side by side with Waltz of Shades, and those are some of the songs that I noticed had like some of the most melodic moments in them. So what were your some of your favorite moments when you were writing the lyrics for these songs?
The thing is that what I'm always pretty often explaining is that first of all, I'm not really a singer. I'm a guitar player. I'm a guitarist. So in Gorod there are only guitarists. So this is why everything is about the guitars. So this is definitely 100% guitaristic bands, but I'm not playing this kind of music on guitar. I'm more into noise rock, hardcore black metal stuff. This is more my genre actually when I'm playing guitar. So not really not technical and harmonized stuff like they do. So this is I'm unable to play that, absolutely unable. But most of the time, what was happening is that I was asked to join bands more for vocals than guitar because in most of my bands I was playing guitar and also singing at the same time or so time to time just I I I, I guess I just created one band in which I was strictly the singer, and that was it. But that was actually long ago. Usually, I'm playing guitars, making some backing vocals and stuff like that. But yeah, the problem is that was that, and for instance, I'm playing right now in grindcore bands, which is in Paris, which is named Grist, and this scenario happened to me many times in my life. Like they were supposed to be in the studio, and their singer told them that he was ready, but the day of the recording session, no, finally the lyrics are not written, the lyrics are not ready. And some people from Paris knew me, so call me, okay, Julien, so can you come over and write some text pretty fast and record it because we are bored of the singers, so you can just make a feeling. I was like, okay. So as I was helping out friends and did okay, oh, do you want to stay in the band? I was like, okay. So one more band on vocals, one more band on vocals, and most of my bands were only. Then this is how I actually became a hundred strictly 100% vocalist. So writing lyrics is not something I'm really. It's not a passion to me. This is mandatory because we need lyrics for that.
Right.
So I'm not really having fun in doing that. For me, this is really like an exercise when I was like when I was a student and when I was writing my thesis. I feel exactly in the same mood. So this is something, but when it's done, I'm super happy. I'm super satisfied. But at the moment when I have to get into it and when I have to make it, this is just pure pain. I have no fun at all in writing. But when it's over, I'm like, oh, I'm super proud of it. Yeah, look how cool is it. But it was just plain for me in the end. Just making music is just fun for me. So I'd rather compose guitar riffs and than this. But yeah, this is how it goes. And time to time, you are skilled for things you don't really like. But yeah, and you have to admit that okay, this is a nice job, but this is not what I enjoy the most. And time to time, I guess it's like this is life: is what you like to do, what do you love to do, and what are you good at. It's not always exactly the same, and that's good to question oneself like this because also it can happen in your life that I feel I love doing this, but you don't realize that yeah you love doing this, but you have to re-question yourself a lot. So it means that what you don't really like it, you re-question it pretty easier. Also, probably I don't know, but yeah, this is what happens to me when I'm writing lyrics, which is a pain.
Okay. Um, so what let me see. So like you told me earlier, you're a tour guide and an art historian, which is really cool. So what were some of the songs that you wrote or created that you were really inspired by, like art piece or like a landscape or building or something that made it into the orb?
Actually, this process were more real with Aitra. Aitra, it was all based on that. This album, the concept, everything was developed when I was going out to a museum exhibition, so the retrospective of Paul Gauguin, and everything started with that because I saw the representation of the goddess Hina, and Hina is one of the goddess or the moon entity in French Polynesia, but not only in French, in many islands around there. And this is how I got inspired. So this was thanks to exhibition. But for the orb, this is more something way more direct. I didn't want to start with too much intellectualized way of doing things. So not getting art from a piece of art. Piece of art came afterwards. The first has to be the thought, the meaning. The so and also I realized something when I was finishing Aethra, that in Aethra there is almost no punchline. I was like, just I was rereading it. Okay, there's no sentence that there is almost no quote I can say like that. And I said, oh, I will do exactly the opposite with the new album. There will be like not 100% of punchline, but it's only that. So this is how the process really started. I was thinking about a sentence that can fit, that can be a philosophical sentence or something that is straightforward with full of sense, but just the sentence on its own. And for instance, breathing silence, these are 100% punchlines in the end. This is only what remains. And also on the Walls of Shades, there are many punchlines on it. So I'm the sentences that can be quotes. On Scale of Sorrows, there are a lot of it. So, and this is when I say punchline, I was more following the philosophical aspect of this. So as a philosopher, because I always loved philosopher's punchline when I was a kid, and I always mentioning some of them. Just for instance, the Hegel one that listen to listen to the forest that grows rather than the tree that falls. There are many like this one, but I wanted to create my own. So this is what I did on it, and on every song on this new album there are punchline, and afterwards then I'm adding art references, and for Victory, so this is both a combination of it. So first of all, I wrote some punchlines, and this is the summer 2021. So this is the first real summer after COVID. I made a single road trip with my car, and I was visiting Europe a bit, and it was ending up one of the latest country was Netherlands, and I went to the Rijksmuseum. In the Rijksmuseum, there is this picture that is actually on the if you type the title of the song, so Gorod Victory on YouTube, you see first this picture. This is from a painter, Jan Toorop, who is a symbolistic painter I really enjoyed and I've been studying. And so, and the title, the name of this picture is actually the quote from the Bible that is used on the on the breakdown of that song. So, "O death, where is thy victory? O death, where is thy sting?" It's a quote from Corinthians. I don't remember the name of the verse instead, but this is the name of that picture, and then you can see there is an open grave, and there is the death that is going to seek for the dead body and to torment it. So who won? This is death. This is the life. Who won? So this is something very epic in this way. So I wanted to question it, but yeah, this is a combination between a work of art, so a proper painting, which I really love, which I saw for real when I was in Amsterdam. So this is there, and so the punchline I wanted to wrote, but the first punchline was sure from the Bible, and then I wrote my reflection all about this, and so this is a combination of this all.
Oh, how cool.
Mm.
I have to ask, with you being in France and being a tour guide, like what is one of the most breathtaking things you have seen while giving a tour?
Sorry, so there was
Oh, as a tour guide in France, like what I have to ask because I've never been there yet. What is one of the most breathtaking things that you have seen while
where where
in
where
France?
Yeah, there's just so many. But yeah, yeah, actually I'm moving all the time. So I'm working not only in my area, but yeah, in the whole region and even more. So there are, the thing is that my tastes are oriented in the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century. So I really love museum with paintings and paintings from the not impressionism, because impressionism is super boring for me because everything is about impressionism, and it's not my cup of tea. Even if it's really interesting, I admit there's no problem, and I've been studying that a lot. But I'm really into symbolism, decadent art, and the darkest parts of the crazy spiritual syncretism that was existing back in that time. And when you are just walking in the street, you see this kind of signs pretty much everywhere because there was a lot of architecture, a lot of sculptures, a lot of things that was made during that time. And yeah, just behind here, also this is an interesting building. This is when this city were resurrected. So it's about coal industry here because the place where I am, for instance, was abandoned after the 16th century because of pandemic, because of the plague. So this area, Rhodes, where I'm, spent 400 years without any proper activity. It came back thanks to this revolution of coal extraction and then wood, sure, over extraction with the forest and everything. And so that's so I don't know. I like there is a history pretty much everywhere. Even if I'm not really interested by any topic, for instance, here I don't really care about that part of the 20th century. So this is the year 1940, just at the beginning of the Second World War. I don't like really this period, but this is interesting, so I have to get into it. So I'm not following my taste in the end. I just no, because I feel like you can learn anything or you can be interested by anything, even if you don't like it at the first sight. So this is why this is impossible for me to answer that question. I would say anything. Anywhere I go, there I can be fascinated. I'm always seeing, and love seeing things just like a kid, a completely uneducated person who never saw anything. It take things as they are and try to make your own experience afterwards. So yeah, I know that's not an answer, but I don't know how to answer more than it because
That was a
I'm
cool
just saying
answer, though.
I'm just taking things how they come and try to deal with it. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, those I have another Zoom meeting in about 5, 10 minutes. So just just
Yeah.
letting you know. But I know you're going to be touring the United States
Yep.
in like a couple weeks, actually, maybe even sooner. Um,
So it's gonna be yeah, we are the second. So in 13 days we are boarding. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. We are embarking. Yeah, this is the 15th of March we're leaving, and the first show is the 16th. So it's gonna be in Brooklyn, and the latest show is the 16th of April in Richmond. So it's a whole tour. Yeah, like not 30 shows, but almost 30 shows and almost no days off. So a real proper North American tour. That's gonna be really exhausting, but can't wait to be there. But yeah, we are actually trying to get ready for this because yeah, in less than 2 weeks we are leaving. Right. Mm.
Yeah, I wish you guys should make a pit stop in Fargo, North Dakota. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah. So North Carolina, not
North Dakota.
North Dakota. Yeah. We're gonna be crossing North Dakota. We made it once actually. Yeah, because we're playing in Minneapolis, and then we are heading to Spokane or Boise. So that's on the way.
Cool. Well, we
Yeah,
have a bunch of venues out here to play like an off show.
yeah. Why not? But I'm not sure there are days off. I guess that our
Oh,
first day
true.
off is around Boise, and Boise is already.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it'll have to be next time then.
Yeah. No,
Cool to see you guys
North
here.
Dakota. Mm. Yeah, I guess that the closest should be probably Lincoln, Nebraska, and Minneapolis. I think that these are the closest dates from North Dakota. But
I
sorry,
didn't see
we are.
Minneapolis on the list.
Yeah, but it's named Menominee or something like this with a weird name, but it's by Minneapolis.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. Okay. Well, maybe I can
Yeah, I
come
had
down.
to Google it. Like, what is Menominee? And it was okay. It's the suburb of Minneapolis. So this is this area.
Okay. I'll have to check.
If I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, those are all of my questions. Do you have anything else you want to get out to the world about the orb?
So, so yeah, all what is about an album is very interesting, but if in the purpose, because we are making this on purpose, is touring, is hitting the road, is driving and getting exhausted, it is sure meeting you and meeting people, meeting all friends around the world, or meeting new friends as well. So as we are heading to United States pretty soon, so just feel keep updated of all the shows. It's just in case if we are coming not too far from the location where you are, try to catch us on the road. Feel free to come hang out, to catch us up and have a drink together and talk about life and philosophy and everything, and how bad this world can be and how good we are, or anything. But yeah, just yeah, we are definitely, we can wait to meet people, and so this is what we are doing this. And so see you on the road, hopefully, or
All
next
right.
time.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. It's been so fascinating, so interesting. So thank you so much for all of your amazing answers.
Cool, that you're welcome. In case it helps, it's always a pleasure to share, because this is all about passion
Right.
concerning a person.
Yes, I
So that's
understand
it.
that.
Yeah,
All right.
this is art.
Yes. Yes, it is. Music is amazing. It seriously, without it, I don't think a lot of us would be alive.
Yeah, yeah. It saved a couple of lives.
Yeah, just a few. No.
Yeah, like this. No more. Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. It's everything. Yeah, I can
Yes,
learn.
it is.
I
All
wouldn't say
right.
anything else. So,
Yeah.
okay, so thank you a lot for everything, Jenna, and see you around and
All right. Yeah.
road.
See you around. Like hopefully hopefully I can make it to the Minneapolis or whatever the name of the town is outside of there. That would be cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Or maybe
just check
make
out
a
all the shows.
stop. Stop
Yeah,
and
yeah. So just yeah, check the routing and yeah, you will see. Make your decision.
all right. Well, you have a wonderful rest of the night and be safe getting back home. Of course, as my
Yeah,
video is freezing up.
yeah. 2 hours drive and then I'm home. That's
All
good.
right. Yeah. Well, thank you
Okay,
so much,
thanks a lot
man.
for, yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye bye.